welcome to Aisha's Corner. This is Aisha speaking. Today, I have a very special video. I am collaborating with
Manufacturers.
and we are going to talk about the medical school process, UK versus Canada. So if you're interested in that, please keep on watching.
Okay, great. So, first question to you
Okay.
is, when do you actually apply to med school?
So med school, the whole process is actually a year long. The application portal opens up in June. And
Okay.
I don't know if you know, but Canada has like different provinces.
Yeah,
And
okay.
so what I'll talk about is more Ontario-based application process, right?
Okay.
So the application portal opens up in June. It's due, like your application is due October. And then interviews usually come around early January, February, and your final decision happens in May. So it's like a whole year that takes.
Okay.
The process.
Okay. Yeah, that's very similar to the UK. So in the UK, we start around June-ish time to start applying, because that's when the first real exam is done, what we call the UCAT. And then from then on, the whole application goes through. You do the interviews again, same as you around December to March time, and then you get your results around April, May time, whether you've gotten in. Now, you don't know if you actually got into like the actual school, like until, because it will be a conditional offer. So you wait until like August until you get A-level results, and then you go through. So just clarifying with the when, is it you apply straight after high school, or do you apply after a bachelor's?
Yeah, so in Canada, you apply after you graduate, but some universities you can apply in your third year of your undergrad degree, and some require 4 years of application. There is a province in Canada, Quebec, where it's similar to UK, where you complete maybe first year of university and then you get admitted to a medical school. So that's a bit different.
Okay, so no one really goes through from high school.
No, unless
Okay.
unless you count that Quebec program where you do 1 year of
Okay.
university.
Okay. So there is
Most
no way
people,
for like a super smart, I don't know, high school student to like skip the line or
yeah.
anything like that. No.
And
Okay.
the average age of applicant is actually 24. So you can imagine that
Okay.
Canada has more mature, I guess, applicants. Like, yeah.
Yeah. So we do have graduate entry programs, so you can apply when after you've done your degree, but even then you're on 21, 22, not 24. Then, but some people do delay it because of financial reasons. But a lot of them do apply before, because it's easier actually to apply in high school than it is to apply after you've done a degree, because you're going to be competing against others who've done degrees, masters, PhDs, trying to get into the medical program, which is a lot harder to do. So after high school, you do the whole just general 1 year application process. And it's probably as intense, but I wouldn't say the intensity is the same as graduate entry though, because they have a different set of exams. So talking about these exams and things like that, let's move on to requirements. So what academic and sort of exams do you need to do to get into your universities?
Okay, so in terms of the testing, well, in Canada, almost all schools require MCAT, which is the admissions test that's required in Canada as well as United States. But there are some schools that don't require MCAT, such as University of Ottawa, and there are some in Quebec as well, where they don't require the MCAT. And there's another test that some schools require, which is called CASPER. And this is an online situational test where you'll have like 12 stations. They'll give you questions like scenarios, they're non-medical, and they'll ask you how would you react.
Okay.
But the thing is, you need to like type really fast, because they ask you 3 questions and you have to answer that within 5 minutes. And slow
Wow.
typers are, I would say it's unfair to them, because Like there's no way you can like type 3 long answers within that time frame if you're a slow typer.
Can you
But
use speech to text? Is that something you can use?
no, that's not
That's not.
allowed. That's not allowed. Yeah. So
No.
you have to practice your typing for that test.
Okay.
And you don't ever get to know your score unless you apply to one school provides you your score or feedback, but other than that, it's like a black box. You
And
don't know how you did.
okay, and um, so you take the Casper, you take this MCAT. Now, with the MCAT, can you apply to both Canadian and US schools essentially?
Yeah. So if you do the ad, it's able to both Canada and US, but they both use different application system, like the UCAS, which is like an application portal. They have their own set of requirements.
Did you say UCAS?
So, but the MCAT is both can be used for both countries.
Did you say the UCAS is your application
No,
process?
I said MCAT.
No, the
And
portal. The,
sorry.
what's your application
Oh, it's
portal
called
called?
AMCAS.
Oh, okay, fine. So we have an
Yeah,
application
that's the
portal.
American portal.
Okay, we have an application portal called
Sorry.
for us for UCAS, so UCAS. So that's used if you're applying to any university in the UK for anything, you use the UCAS system.
Right.
So that's the system where you rank all your different university you want to apply to. But each year you can only apply to 5 universities. You can't apply to more than that. So
Okay.
in terms of academic specific, so like for example, your degrees, I don't know if it's like a first or A's. I don't know how you guys classify your degrees. What sort of things do you need?
Yeah. So in Canada, GPA is king, grade point average. You
Okay.
need to try your best to get as high as possible because it's very competitive. And I would say, like, you look, whatever school you're interested in, look at their admission averages and try to kind of aim above that because you want to be competitive. But we use a 4.0 grade scale. So in order to be competitive, people say, oh, you need to get 3.8 at least, or you should have a good chance if you're above 3.9. But in Canada, I think GPA is very much valued. So do your best to like score as high as possible.
Is 4.0 like the highest you can get? Or
Yeah,
is
that's
it?
like A plus.
Oh, wow. Okay,
And
fine.
this university that I attended to, it was like we did like grade like letter system. So you just like convert it to a 4.0 scale.
So is
Yeah.
each, like for example, with grade, so I guess it says grade point average. So does each A plus constitute as a 4.0 and anything lower than that is a slightly less score?
Yeah, that's a good question. So like different schools have different conversion rates. So my
Uh,
school, we used like a weird 9.0 scale. And so for us, an A was 3.8 and A plus was 4.0, but there was nothing in between. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
That's a bit shoddy.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Now, does your high school grades matter at all then, or is it just your university?
Your high school grades will get you into the university, but after that, like nobody really cares what you got on
Okay.
your classes. So it's all about your four-year undergrad.
Okay. So, and for your 4 year undergrad, is it just your final year that is the biggest like 4.0 thing, or is it like the across the board you have to like sort of do things?
Yeah. So the thing about Canadian schools is like every school has different criteria. Like for
Okay.
instance, University of Toronto, what they do is, let's say you took a 4-year degree and you took like 10 courses per year, like you took a full course load. They have this weird, not a weird, but it's very generous where they drop your lowest 5 scores or whatever, you know?
Okay.
And another school, what they do is they multiply the GPA, the last year GPA by a factor of 3, so it counts more. So it's very school dependent, but as a word of advice, just try to do your best in every year.
Okay. And is there a class system for your school? So, like, is a certain university better than another university, and that
Okay.
will give you a little bit more preference?
No, okay. So the thing is, I know there's some people that are like, oh, don't go to this university because it's bad or whatever. Like, there's The thing is, I think when you are in Canada, your biggest priority should be choosing a program that you enjoy, and there's also many other situational factors. Maybe you want to live close to your family. But I would say that, people will always say, oh, this university is better than the other one, but the reputation is not admissions at all. It doesn't matter if you go to X university, they're not going to give you brownie points because it has higher rankings in research or whatever. So
Oh, that's
think about, where are you going to be most comfortable, location, what programs they have, and yeah,
that's really good. It's
so
good to
that's
see
it.
there's like a fairish sort of system there. Like it doesn't matter where you like your high school system isn't sort of screwing you over kind of thing, like depending on
Right.
what university you're going to. I guess that there's a good point there. For example, here,
Yeah.
university it doesn't really matter per se, but it does like certain opportunities won't be there if you don't go to like
Mhm.
top universities. So there is still a slight class system here. So
Yeah.
for example, if you've gone to Oxford or Cambridge or Imperial or King's, you're going to have a much higher chance of probably getting into medicine than
Mhm.
if you went to somewhere where it's not like a well-known university, like for example
Right.
Bangor or something. That you can still get in, but it's just
Yeah.
the chances are much lower. Now,
Mhm.
we during A levels had to take certain subjects. So we had to take biology and chemistry. They were compulsory. Chemistry is more compulsory than biology. Some universities you don't need you don't really need biology, but you have to have chemistry. Did you have sort of similar things where you had to have a certain subject that you had to do beforehand?
Sure, yeah. I would like to clarify my last point. I agree, like the university you go to, it kind of shapes what opportunities you have. So for instance, if you go to University of Toronto, which is based in downtown, obviously going to be you will have more research opportunities because there's so many hospitals, there's so many scientists around, versus if you go to maybe Lakehead, which is more in a rural setting. So, but in terms of admissions, they don't differentiate like, oh, if you went to this, you'll get an extra point. But think about the opportunities because that does like, affect the playing field basically.
Okay, cool.
And so your question was about the courses. So every university has different requirements, but if you want to open up as many opportunities as possible, I would recommend taking 1 year biology, 1 year of chemistry, biochemistry, like one semester, organic chemistry, physics. And if you notice, like these subjects, they will help you in MCAT anyways. So the first 2 years, you should try to take that, and that will open a lot of doors.
Yeah, this is very unusual for us because it's like when we do degrees, we do just one subject. So, for
Yeah,
example, whatever you do in high school, you go in and you choose a subject. So, I found it so bizarre
yeah.
in the US and in Canada. You get to like mix and match what you want to do during
Right.
university. Like, what do you come out with? Like, what degree do you come out with? I'm so confused.
Well, I mean, it's like bachelor's of science, right? So you can take like different science courses, but you do have different like requirements. Like let's say
No,
your
no, but
degree
what's
is
your
in,
bachelor's? What would it be called then? So, what do you
well,
call yourself?
let's
Your
say,
degree?
okay, so let's say someone's doing bachelor's of science in biology. That means
Yeah.
that majority of their courses was based in bio. Maybe they did a thesis in
Okay.
bio, but you have electives. So you can take whatever psychology, you can take sociology, but that's going to be like 1 or 2 courses versus
That's still
majority of the
quite good
courses.
though. Like we just don't get that flexibility. Like
Yeah.
we have a little bit of flexibility. Yeah, we have similar things like elective programs when you're like, oh, I can learn Japanese, I can do this, but it's not like an integral part where you get assessed as much.
Mhm.
Like and you, but the core of the thing, like the degree itself, you do just that course. Like you will do
Right.
pure maths, and all the subjects you take are on maths. Like you would not do anything else but maths. Like you'll do
Okay.
physics and stuff like related, but for example, you can't do maths with and take an English class for some reason, or
Right.
like you
Yeah.
can't do that. Whereas in American and Canadian systems, you get to do this mix and match, which I found like what the guys just found it very
Yeah.
bizarre.
So wait, are you talking about high school
No,
or
no, no,
like
university. Like
university?
you are literally
Okay,
doing
okay, okay.
one subject. So in your universities, you get to choose. Like for example, I didn't realize that a lot of people apply to university, and you don't have to apply for a specific subject. Is that true?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you
Well,
get to
that's those are called undeclared majors, and but you
yeah.
have to declare as some point. You can't just like
No.
not declare.
Of course, that's the
Yeah.
case. But you can't undeclare a major when, like, or when you're going into university in the UK. You can't just be like, I might do maths. You know, I just want to
Oh,
get from
okay.
university. I might do
Right.
maths. You can't do that. You have
Yeah.
to be quite decisive in the UK.
Yeah.
Whereas
Yeah.
in the US
But
and
you
the
can do
Canadian
that here.
strongest,
Yeah.
they're like, let's take it free.
Yeah.
Let's do other stuff. Let's have fun.
Yeah.
Um,
They give you choice, right? Like
yeah,
I feel like when you are like 17, 18, like it's hard to know what you're gonna do. Like with you need more experience to come
yeah,
in through. Yeah.
that's true.
So
That's true. But I guess maybe it's a maturity thing. Maybe UK people are more mature than
yeah.
Canadians.
What?
That's joking. That's joking. That's joking. Anyways, what are the non-academic requirements?
Okay, so that's a good question. We have this framework, it's called Ken Meds,
Okay.
and these are qualities that you need in a physician. So these include, I have it actually here, so I'll read it out loud, but
Right.
there's like different clusters, and you have
Okay.
to do activities that kind of showcase those clusters. So
Okay.
one could be being a good communicator. One could be being a good collaborator because in medicine, you're constantly collaborating with different physicians, nurses, and then one is about advocates, so speaking up on the behalf of those who can't speak up. And in Canada, which is different from America, but I'm not sure if it's similar to UK, shadowing, which is like being in the physician's room and kind of like seeing what they do, it's kind of looked down upon because of the physician patient privacy laws. And it's very hard to find opportunities where you can be in the patient room and see what the doctor is doing. So in terms of getting clinical experience, it's not so much expected in Canada. You can do like research, you can do clinical research, with which I did, but opportunities to just like shadow a doctor are not there because it's just not the culture, I guess. And I don't
Wow.
know, rumor has it, I'm like just I've heard
Yeah.
that like there's one school, it's called University of British Columbia. And again, this is unverified, so don't take my word for it, but they look down on people who have shadowing hours because it's just, I don't know, because of patient physician
Okay.
privacy.
That is actually a surprise. Like that is
Yeah.
to me, this is one of the most surprising things you've probably said so far. Like the other stuff was like, yeah, standard, makes
Yeah.
sense. This is actually surprising because in the UK, it is like it's not really expected. You don't have to. Like there is no,
Right.
you don't have to. But it's not looked down upon. It's favored. The reason it's favored to look and try and shadow a doctor is because you get to see what it's like to be an actual doctor. Because remember,
Yeah.
you're 17 to 18, and you have to make a big decision in your
Right.
life to become a doctor. So if you're not knowing what it's like to actually work as a doctor, how are you going to know? So
Yeah.
there are different opportunities. So you can volunteer at hospitals, and you can do that. You can actually shadow physicians there, and they will be like, "Yeah, you can come along with me. You can get to see what I'm doing. You can ask me questions." And that's favored. And and there is no preference. Like if you went to a hi-fi, the high school or low, like it doesn't really matter as long as you email them and they're
Yeah.
nice about it. They're more than happy to accept you and then help you shadow. And the big thing is, it's not about the shadowing that they care about, because you need to mention in your personal statements. But the bigger thing is what you learn from it. So you need to say, I've shadowed this doctor and I learned XYZ from this doctor. I know what it's like to be an actual doctor. But if you don't have that experience, I found personally when I've interviewed students, they don't perform as well because they don't
Right.
know what it's like to genuinely do medicine. So how are you supposed to find out
Well,
what medicine
okay,
really like?
so I feel like I need to clarify myself, okay?
Okay.
When I mean shadowing, I mean like let's say there is a physician and they're doing a patient examination, right? They're in the
Yeah.
room.
Yeah.
You being in that room, it's looked down upon because of that patient physician confidentiality.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that you can't do hospital volunteering. In fact, like most people, they volunteer in the hospital, and they work on the floors. They can even act as greeters or they help patients. You can do those things.
Yeah.
But I think the main concern is that being in a physician's room while that
So yeah,
interaction is
okay,
going on.
we're allowed to do that as well. So we're allowed to be in the
Yeah.
physician's room. So I didn't realize that's the thing. So the only thing is, as long as the patient is happy,
Right.
you're allowed to, and it depends on the consultation. Like if I'm going into a sexual health clinic as a
Yeah.
18-year-old, that's going to be a bit weird. But if it's like, for example, a regular checkup
Yeah.
about, I don't know, their smoking history or something, it might not be as, as problematic. So obviously there's a little bit of
Sensitive.
yeah, the sensitivity as to, you need to know this is very sensitive issue. Like, I'm not going to go into a sexual health
Yeah.
clinic, but it's fine for me to go into a
Well,
general
yeah.
medicine thing. Yeah, cool.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean I volunteered as a clinical research assistant,
okay.
and I was in the patient room, but it was due to the nature of my position. But it wasn't
Yeah.
like I was shadowing the doctor, I was actually
Yeah,
doing
yeah, yeah, yeah,
research.
yeah. So
You
you're kind of
can be
doing
in
the
the
low
room,
key.
it's just
You're doing like
it's
the
not
low
common
key
for
studying. So it's
yeah,
low key
yeah, I
shadowing.
did it
It's
under
not
the
like
tape. No,
yeah.
exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Imagine that's how desperate Canadian students become to try and get in. They're like, I'm under the what's the doctor doing? Like, that would be funny. Anyways, the next one is what about medical schools? Like, is there like a lot of medical schools in your province, or is there
Yeah.
like not many?
Okay, so I don't know what's the equivalent of provinces in UK. Do you guys
Uh,
have provinces?
well, I guess it's like we just have countries. We have England, Wales, and Scotland. I don't know if you
It's pretty
province.
small, yeah.
Yeah.
But we have like 10 different provinces,
Yeah.
and in total, we only have 17 schools.
In Canada.
Yeah, just 17.
Oh, that's
But
competitive.
but it gets
Okay.
even worse. Um, Basically, they favor their own in-province students. So let's say you live
Uh,
in Ontario, right?
yeah.
Which has like around, I think there's like 6 schools. But if
Yeah.
you want to go to like, let's say another province, it's like almost impossible because they require super high standards for out of province students.
Oh wow.
So you're
What?
limited by
What's this?
geography.
I thought Canada's supposed to be this like kind,
Nope, no,
gentle, all of this stuff.
no.
What's this? Yo, you're not
It's
part of my
really
province.
difficult. It's really
Wow.
difficult because there's so many applicants, and
Yeah.
the rate of success, I don't know, but I read it's like 4 to 10% or even less than that.
Wow. Okay.
So yeah, it's
Damn.
very difficult.
Damn. I'm kind of lucky to be in the UK because it's not as
Yeah,
competitive.
you
Because
are.
our competitive ratio isn't that high. Certain ones are. Certain ones are like 1 in 10 or more, like similar to yours. But that's like even Oxford or Cambridge is probably like, we're looking at 1 in 10, like sort of people getting
Yeah,
offers. But like lower down, it's probably like more than 1 in 5-ish that are getting offers, because I guess the people that apply are going to be high standard anyway. It's not like any Dilly is going to apply, but
yeah,
1 in 5 is still pretty good to get an offer to do it. And a lot of people can take gap years and they have much better chances of
right.
applying then. So, wow. And so we have around 30 med schools
Damn.
in the
And it's
UK.
so small too, right? Like UK is
Exactly.
not that big.
Yeah, damn, Canada. I thought Canada was the one,
It's
but
not. It's not.
oh,
It's very
fine,
difficult.
fine. But okay, but per school there probably is a lot of applicants then. So like, I think they take a lot of applicants in.
Nope.
Huh? How many? How?
So
Okay, one.
I'll break it down for you, okay? There are 6,000 applicants
Yeah.
per school.
Oh wow. Okay.
And let's say they usually invite around 500, 600 people to interview.
Whoa.
And then they basically accept around 100, 200 people per
Only
school. Yeah.
no. Wait, what's the biggest
100
school
is,
though?
yeah,
What's the
seriously.
biggest school? How many was
Sorry?
with the biggest school? How
I
many
would
was taking
say, okay,
applicants?
in my experience, I would say University of Toronto interviews 600 people and out of 6,000 and accepts 300, around 300. So
Wow.
that's the, if
Damn.
you want to, yeah,
Big.
it's crazy.
Birmingham Med School has 400 people that it accepts.
Damn.
So, and it's not like, I wouldn't say it's one of the biggest sort of med schools that out
Yeah.
there. I think there is another one that's bigger than ours. I think UCL is probably around 300 or 400 people. Imperial probably around the same. Like we get like we like I
There's a
don't know
lot
why
of
there's a doctor shortage then. Is there a doctor shortage in
yeah,
Canada?
there is, but it's very
Oh,
tightly
okay.
regulated. I think it's
Okay.
I mean there might be reasons why they're doing that, but it's very heavily regulated by the government. And
Oh, okay.
because I think there's one reason is that like the you know medical school, the expenses, they're partly subsidized by the government, so they're paying
Okay.
for our education in a way.
Okay.
So
Wait, so I guess that's the next question. Like, how much
yeah,
do you pay to actually? Firstly, how much do you pay to apply? Number
okay.
one, and how much would you pay when you're actually there?
So again, I'm speaking from personal experience.
Yeah,
This might be different for other people,
yeah,
but I've only applied to like Ontario schools and one other in British Columbia.
yeah.
Applications, I remember paying like $700 or
Whoa! No, I've not paid that much for
wait, I'm
application.
gonna double check. I don't want to
I
give
don't
people the
care.
wrong
Like, I
idea.
don't. Even if you go up 500, no, sorry, 200 up, 200 down. That's a lot. 700. Like, even if you pay 500, that's
Just yeah, I'm double checking right now, but um it's like okay, let's say you apply to like 5 schools.
yeah.
First school is like 170, I think.
Oh wow. No, we don't
Yeah,
have that. Like, so we pay one little fee. I think it's like 20 or 30 or 50 pounds or something like that
right.
to apply to the 5 schools.
Okay. What?
Like, yeah, exactly. So I'm just there, like, what you pay 170 for, like,
Wait,
per school?
that's crazy.
Oh
Sorry,
wait, that's
I'm
in
just
Canadian
like
dollars
double
though.
checking. Like I don't want to payment application.
Dollars to pounds.
Um, yeah, like as far as I remember,
96 pounds.
think
Damn.
I can edit it afterwards, but like it was around 700.
Wow. No,
And the
that is a
chances
lot.
of even actually getting
Wait,
in
that's
are so slim.
without like your like books and other things.
No, this is just like applying. This is not,
Whoa, that's too much money. I would not be able to afford that. Like
yeah.
700, like even if it's Canadian dollars, that's around like £500. Like that's a lot of money to apply to like your 5 schools. Damn.
Yeah, it's 5 schools, not even 30 schools. So
Damn. So that means like, is it only like rich people that can apply then, or are there like other
well,
programs to help?
to be honest, I don't, yeah, it is, there are actually a lot of barriers to for like people coming from low socioeconomic backgrounds. Personally,
Um,
I worked all throughout my undergrad and
yeah.
even afterwards, so I would not be able to afford it if I didn't work, to be
Was your
honest.
undergrad paid for though? Like, does the government pay for your
No, no, no. What, like, I
Well,
don't
how much do you pay
know.
for? Okay, this is getting you worse. How much do you pay for your undergrad, by the way, per year?
Okay, so okay, most people they take loans that are available
Okay, yeah,
through
yeah,
the
yeah, that's fine.
province.
Yeah.
But I think it's like most people say 20,000 to 30,000 for a degree. Again, I don't, that was my personal experience. So
It
yeah.
doesn't matter if that's like round like that. Oh, wait, do you guys have that thing in America where they have like community college and stuff like that?
No, well, we have colleges. So we have
Yeah,
colleges and then we have universities.
but you can't
Colleges
get
are
in
more
using
for
colleges.
diplomas.
Okay, yeah. No, we do you know how much we pay?
How much?
9.25K in
Oh,
pounds
what? That's like, and
per
then
year.
international students, they pay like 60 grand and I don't
Yeah,
know.
so here like international students will pay your fee, so there would be
Okay.
like 30K, like £30,000
Yeah.
for international students. So wow, actually now that I'm thinking about it, actually UK is being a
You're
bit reasonable.
lucky.
Yeah, now like the thing is, it's paid because of our tax system. So we get taxed more, so that helps fund like to make it a bit cheaper. But a lot of people even complained about it being 9.25K.
Wow. So
Yeah,
they should see this because, but you
yeah.
know, Quebec, I
Mm,
keep on mentioning Quebec, but Quebec is a province. It's
mm,
mainly French speaking. And
okay,
all these, this is too much. They went on strike. So
okay.
they're like half of ours, basically, after all that
Damn.
fighting.
Wow.
So yeah.
So okay, fine. Now we've talked about a lot of the academics and stuff like that and getting in, and now I just realized like you pay stupid amount of
Right.
money. Now
Yeah.
going back to I didn't mention about our exams. I just realized So we take two exams. We take the UCAT and we take the BMAT. Then it depends on what university is applying to. So the UCAT is you apply to most universities, take this UCAT. So it's like this so it has situational judgment, but everything is multiple choice. You have like abstract reasoning, where it's like these shapes and weird stuff. You take quantitative reasoning, which is all these numbers, like number calculations, verbal reasoning, which is like comprehension style questions, but it's very fast paced, very fast paced. But you don't have to type anything like yours, so no carpal tunnel. And then there is another section called decision making, which is like Venn diagrams and things like that. So that's what they use and to like as cutoffs and things like that. So that's the big exam. Then you have the BMAT, which only places like Oxford, Leeds, Cambridge, UCL, and Imperial use. And I think there's another one I forgot that use this BMAT system to get in. And that one is more like your GCSE level, like what I'd call high school level sciences. But it's like very fast paced again, and you have an essay. So those are the two main exam systems used to apply to UK universities, and like you just have to get a certain cut-off score. Or some universities like UCL or Birmingham, or actually not Birmingham, UCL usually they're quite holistic, or Bristol used to be quite holistic, so they wouldn't just look at your scores; they'll look at your scores in relation to what school you went. So, for example, if you were in a bad school but you're getting decent grades, you have a higher chance of getting in compared to a person in a very good school getting like similar decent grades. So they're very like, you know, welcoming to like different students. Whereas yours, I feel like is very, you know, widening the inequalities more, because only certain individuals who you know saved up and done that stuff would probably have a chance to even apply.
Right. Yeah, no, I get that. And I had a question. So in terms of your testing, it seems like it's more an aptitude test where it's not
It's
really
more of an aptitude.
focusing more, it's not like a subject-based test, right? It's
The
more
only one is BMAT.
an intelligence test.
So BMAT is a subject-based test. So you do a little bit of your sciences, but again, it's not like big.
Not like
it's
MCAT,
not like
yeah.
No, not that level. It's more like your high school level kind of thing.
Right.
So but it's just fast paced, but that's it.
Yeah, you're right. I feel like application, admission into med school process, there's so many barriers.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of initiatives going on, but I'll tell you, there's a lot of hurdles that you have to get to, right? So the first hurdle is getting a high GPA. There's people out there that because of their circumstances, like, you know, working and managing different commitments, how can you like, it's more difficult to maintain that 4.0 if you're focused on working or taking care of a kid. The next one's MCAT. MCAT itself, like, you can definitely succeed with like not buying that much material, but the people that have money, they can afford prep courses, they can afford buying the best books, and again, like the time, right? Like some people might not have the time to spend full time on MCAT. Like people study it 4 months, they do nothing but study.
Wow.
But like think about people coming from low socioeconomic backgrounds or non-traditional applicants that have kids. So again, there is a widening gap. But nowadays there are some schools that kind of address that. So I'll talk about that because there was one of the questions that we came up with about
so widening participation. So tell me about the widening participation programs then.
So I'll talk about like a few here. Like there's obviously every school has different criteria, like I said. But okay, so the first one I want to talk about is University of Toronto's BSAP program, and that's for Black students because they come from marginalized communities and they've experienced barriers that other people might not have. So that program, it doesn't really give you like a different set of criteria, but they ensure that Black physicians and Black community members review the files of those students. So to give a better, I guess, accurate representation. And then, and then Western University has something called Access Pathway, and it was made to support people coming from unrepresented backgrounds, such as, I'm not sure if you have that in England, but Indigenous population. We do have Indigenous populations, but again, because you know some come from low socioeconomic backgrounds and there's just so many barriers.
Yeah.
There's also Black individuals, people coming from low socioeconomic backgrounds. So the access pathway has requirements that are a bit more lenient, I guess, such as the MCAT cutoffs or even the
Mm,
GPA.
yeah.
But for those kind of programs, you do have to write an essay and whatever, explaining
Oh
your
yeah, yeah,
situation.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I feel like it's a step in the right direction. And
Mm.
another program I personally used as well is Community of Support from
Okay.
UFT, where medical students, they provide free help in terms of
Okay.
application process,
Okay.
research opportunities,
Yeah.
and it's an amazing program because again, like when
Yeah.
you come from a disadvantaged background, you
Mm.
don't really have the
Mm.
resources to be the best you can be.
Did you get paid for your research, by the way? Did you get any stipend or anything like that?
The one that I did,
Yeah. Any
like
payment
the clinical
given?
research,
Yeah.
payment programs, but I did it on a volunteer basis.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So from what I can hear is number one, you get widening problem of socioeconomic gaps.
Right.
They there is a exploitation of you guys because you guys are doing a lot of free stuff for the healthcare essentially. Like,
Well,
well, not like directly to say you're gonna do it. Like it's more like it's kind of like a brain, like the brainwashing you, like for example, you got to do these things to sort of get in.
no, I don't agree with that. That's taking a more extreme approach.
Okay.
Um, well, like I said, in terms of applications, you asked like what kind of non-academic
Okay.
experience you need to have. You don't need to have research. You don't need to
Oh,
have
okay,
clinical
okay, okay,
experience.
fine.
Like it's how you talk about your experiences. Like,
Yeah, fine.
for example, they asked me about, like, during an interview, I was able to demonstrate excellent communication skills,
Okay,
problem
fine.
solving skills. So
Okay,
it's
so it's
not
not
like
like
you
a
need
requirement.
X,
It's not
Y,
like a.
Z.
Oh, okay, fine.
Yeah, it's
Okay, so
not.
there's no
It's not.
expectation of work. There you go.
Yeah,
Okay, that's good.
I'm glad we got
Okay,
that
fine.
covered because it was, yeah, it's not a
All right,
requirement.
fine. Okay, good.
Yeah.
No, so in the UK, I'll tell you a little bit more good news about our any participation programs, because it's actually even better than yours. Like genuinely, like it's actually really good that it is. And I think Canada genuinely needs to probably do something about it because that sounds horrible in my opinion. Because a lot of students, for example, who are of low socioeconomic background, that might need number one funding for like MCAT application. Number two,
Well,
they,
yeah.
I know there's like lower score, but again, probably getting into these programs is going to be quite challenging, right?
Yeah, so I like how you mentioned MCAT. There is a fee assistance program
Yeah, yeah.
that offers assistance for those that can't afford it. So we do have
Yeah,
that.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have that for UCAT as well. So like there is like they can reimburse you if you go to like a low socioeconomic school, etc. So
Right.
those are there. And I think like listening to yours, I have taken for granted a lot of the whiny participation programs we have here. Because
Okay.
I didn't realize compared to you guys that you do have that is quite good to see there is something going on. But it still seems like you can widen participation as much as you can, but when there is such high competition, there's only so much you can do. So I feel like there should be more medical schools, in my opinion, in some ways, because Canada is quite a big country, like, isn't it? Like it needs a lot of more physicians than maybe I'm getting something wrong, but so that doesn't seem like enough to cover the whole of Canada. Like,
No, I mean, in all honesty, I'm an applicant and I can't really speak like as much as I want on this subject matter. But there has to be a reason why there's less schools. Yeah, I'm honestly I don't know, to be honest, why there's not more schools.
okay, fine. Well, okay, so I'll talk about, okay, that's fine. So we don't know why that's happening, but in terms of widening participation, yes. So each different school has a individual widening participation program. Alongside different companies having widening participation programs. Okay, so individual universities might have a society which helps with application process, helps with personal statement writing, and all of those things. And so it reduces the disparity because there are companies out there that do charge money to get things done, but they provide these services for free because the university pays individuals or organizes these sessions for example, interview practice, writing personal statements. They help also reduce your grades as well, requirements in some universities. So for example, access to Birmingham can reduce your grades from having A star AA to ABB, which is a lot lower than like the standard. Or for example, places like Bristol, if you go to their summer school and you're from a low socioeconomic background, again, you're guaranteed an interview because of it. Like there's so many little things that they do to really help individuals get in, because they do want people of different colors and different people to get in. Yeah.
No, definitely. I feel like, okay, again, like this is to my knowledge, there might be more programs available, but I do notice that there is a shift towards looking at health through a social determinants of health perspective, where we do realize that having physicians that look like you, that come from same lived experience as you, they ensure better patient outcomes. So there are programs that ensure that there is more diversity in our applicant pool. But again, there's always more that we can do, right? Because the disparities are never, they're never going to go away. So I feel like there should be more push towards
that's reasonable. All right, so final few questions. Now, how much are you paying when you're actually there? Like, what would you be paying? And do you have that sort of, and do you have to have that money with you kind of thing? Or do you take a loan out?
So of course you can check like the different whatever, like I don't want to say something and it's wrong, but it's around like 20,000 per year. Like, but there are some universities are more expensive than the others. But how you pay it is if you have any personal assets, or your parents can contribute to it. The next one is government loans such as OSAP that you can pay through it. The third option is getting a line of credit from a bank institution.
Okay, that's more expensive probably, like bank.
Yeah, it's just, first you should try to pay it from your pocket, and if that doesn't cover, then you should go with the interest-free loans from government, and then the third option is private.
When you were working all 4 years, because I guess your 4 years was covered by a certain loan, probably a government loan sort of thing, and then when you were working, did you make enough to now cover your, if you go into medical school, funds, or would you have to get a loan out again?
That's a very good question, and that question worries me because I worked like part-time, so that was nothing. Like that was just and I was working more because I love teaching, so I was a teaching assistant at the university. And I'm working full-time now too, but I don't think I have enough money that I can pay back my undergrad loans and then take
not pay back your undergrad loan, but just med school. Like for example, like would you be able to fund your own med school?
No, I don't think so. So I would have to take government loans or private institutions. What about for you guys?
No, so if you are taking as your first degree, government pays pretty much everything, but you take it as a loan. So but the loan is a lot cheaper. Like it's like 1 or 2% interest, like very, 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 very little. But they take it as like a tax basically, because most people take a degree, so they take it more like a tax here rather than like and they write it off after 30 years. So if you don't have if you haven't paid it off all in 30 years, they will write it off for you. So you're not in and you don't pay for anything until you've earned more than 20K a year. So you pay nothing before then, like obviously.
We have those programs too. So for undergrad, I think 6 months, it's like they allow you to find a job and pay back. Even after that, if you aren't able to pay, they do have relief programs, and where they will just forgive it for the next 6 months, and you just have to keep renewing it.
Oh, okay. So you just sort of ask for forgiveness, sort of.
Exactly.
Like, all right, not like that, but I don't know why it sounds so sadistic in Canada in some ways.
No, I don't know. I don't want to paint like a wrong picture. Like it's actually not that bad.
I think it's just because it's the system that we're like I'm used to in the UK is very different to the way you're used to in Canada. I think for you that's become a normality. For us, that's like what the flavor, like that's not something we would do. But I think
it's definitely difficult.
But I think now you've seen both sides, you're thinking, actually, you know what, Canada can progress and do a lot more. Because if UK is a small country out there doing this, why can't Canada, with a big country, got so much
Yeah.
more
I mean,
resources.
and the thing is, I don't want to unfairly criticize Canada. Like, I feel like Canada, like as a student, I got access to opportunities, even though, like, but again, there's more that you can do, and I think universities are taking that first step,
Definitely,
such as the programs that I mentioned, like the Access Pathway, BSAP, Community of Support. So it's a start, but hopefully people have more support programs.
Yeah, that's really good to hear. Yeah, so we have so do you get maintenance? Like, so with the government loan, do you pay that pays off your tuition? Does that then pay off your maintenance as well?
What's maintenance?
So like living.
Like okay, yeah. So yeah, those government loans, again, so I'm an applicant. I will know more about this if I get accepted. But yeah, the living expenses will be covered under your
fine. And are you planning to live home, or are you planning to move out? Like, do you have to, I don't know how far your uni is from
depends on, I mean, it depends on where I get accepted. So yeah, most likely living on campus.
Okay, fine. Yeah, that's good. So did you live on campus when you were in your undergrad, or is it just, would you have to be moving out just for med school? Or did you live in campus before?
I lived at home. So part of the reason why I picked my university was because it was like a 30-minute, 40-minute bus ride. So I lived at home. Yeah. What about you? Well, do you live on campus?
No, I live on campus. So I moved. I was like, as soon as I get the chance to move out, kind of thing. But because we have the facility for that here, but like for you guys, I don't think that's wise decision. It's better to probably stay at home, because it's going to cost a lot more money to sort of go move out. I could have stayed in near London. I could have applied to certain London unis, but I really didn't want to. I really wanted to move out of London to like just to get that sort of independence, that freedom to just do whatever I really wanted to. It wasn't like I was trying to be naughty. It was just like there were just other things I wanted to do in my life, and not having parents, it's good.
Right, yeah, you get more freedom.
Cool. Yeah, all right, well, and so that was really interesting, Aisha, about your application process to Canada, and hopefully people have learned a little bit about
yeah, I hope that I didn't paint like a scary picture. Like I guess I'm used to it.
The Canadian system is the worst.
No, I mean, I honestly, like, I wouldn't move anywhere. Like, I want to stay here, and although this process is difficult, it does build a lot of resilience, and by the end of it, you're sure that you want to get into medicine. So
fine.
But
cool. So hopefully everyone enjoyed the video. I mean, if you want to just end it off.
Yeah, so I mean, follow me on Instagram. My Instagram is Aisha S__corner. For more content on pre-med, lifestyle, and mental health.
Brilliant, and follow me on that.
Okay, well, take care.